The next day, our AC went out. We have an 8-month-old baby in this apartment, y'all. Look how hot it is.
There's these guys on TikTok and Instagram pretending to be brokers and they're not brokers. And they're showing these super cheap apartments, $1,500 a month for a 2-bedroom in Edgewater.
Who the hell thought that was real?
I walk outside my door to all of this right here.
So I went on a tour of a luxury apartment yesterday. Why the hallways dirty? Why is there blunt wrappers all in the stairwell?
Many of these videos we found are posted by scammers, impersonating real agents and manipulating real listings.
Hey, I'm trying to rent a 1-bedroom apartment. What's y'all requirement? Okay, sir, here you go. You have to have an 800 credit score first. You have to make 9 times the rent every 2 weeks.
The market for apartments is crazy. How do y'all expect people to get through the week?
Apartments have long had a mainstay in housing since, well, ever since housing became a thing. And for decades, apartments have served as a substitute for home ownership that, despite financial income or situation, have become a viable option for many and even become the preference for some. Apartments have not only served as a way for lower income families to receive a normal opportunity at life, but also have served as the stepping stone to independence and understanding what stepping away from the nest that is your parents is truly like. Not only do you not have to deal with the sometimes unattainable qualifications or the pesky task of maintenance, the hefty down payments or HOH fees and hidden taxes, but most apartment complexes have the luxury of coming with different amenities such as pools and gyms, the flexibility to set monthly or annual contracts, not having to deal with lengthy loans, and overall being less of a long-term financial commitment for those who often experience change in the circumstances around them. And with me having a pretty substantial apartment experience myself, I can attest to living in an apartment truly offers me a peace of mind without my housing situation feeling like a financial or time-consuming burden. But over the past few years of me being on my own and after having moved from place to place to place, I've begun seeing a huge pendulum shift in the favor of rental property owners, to where I can't help but feel like I'm getting when I put my eyes onto a potential apartment opportunity. And you could probably guess from my intro, I'm not the only one that feels like this. From ridiculous rules, neighbors from hell, insane prices, and the head-scratching requirements, apartments have become more of an annoyance than anything, and honestly has made me desire home ownership over anything. Oh, so you're saying I have to put 50K down just to get this paradise? You know, actually I think I could do that. You know, sell a kidney here, sell another limb there, maybe start up an OnlyFans. I could probably get that together. Oh, you won't approve me anyways because my credit isn't established enough? Dude, I like just graduated college. So yeah, if you're under the age of 30 and have not lucked out on Ethereum or whose social media footprint resembles Gandhi's, then yeah, chances are you're going to be having to deal with this for the next 10 years of your life. Before I get onto property owners and the requirements and the stipulations, I gotta get on the people who you have to share these apartments with. Apartment neighbors are they're like the driver's license equivalent of people you share the road with. There's a ton of people with them. There's a ton of people that should have them. But honestly speaking, there's like way more people that shouldn't even ever touch a road, period, let alone a driver's license. And it's those people that you get the slight urge to get violent with once they enact their utter stupid tendencies. Most of the time you have your nice and friendly neighbors, or just the ones you barely recognize as they give you no issues. But maybe it's just me, but I feel like I just attract the shittiest of neighbors. And it's nothing too crazy, you know, just deciding that apartment reconstruction needs to occur at 2 in the morning, or casually deciding to park in my designated parking spot, or maybe just block me in altogether, or maybe it's the IMAX level theaters of sound, or the homo level shouting matches between you and your partner, or the banging on the walls for absolutely no reason, or maybe just maybe It's your fucking chihuahua that won't stop barking. It's not just me, right? Honestly, I'm pretty sure that everyone I know has had an apartment neighbor story from hell because it's just way too common of an occurrence. And similarly to the example I gave about being on the road with people who questionably have their license, for whatever reason, people just get the inkling that they don't need to be mindful of what they do just because they live there. For example, I work nighttime, so often I might get home at like 5 or 6 in the morning, and even though those might be the times I want to clean up and vacuum the house or hang up my next painting, my brain has the context clues that, oh yeah, 90% of the people who live in this complex are probably sleeping, and this is the last thing they want to hear right now. But many people just don't have the common courtesy, or just don't give a fuck. I'm undecided as to which one yet, but apartment neighbors need to be nerfed. Reddit has to take the cake of what others have gone through. When I see things like this, or when I see things like this, it reminds me that, you know, Bradley, it could be a lot worse. Like, way worse. I mean, you could be going through things like this guy.
Days within this unit that I've been renting for so long. Really sad that I have to leave because they decided to raise my rent $700, and I already pay $2,300 without parking fees, which is $185, and plus utilities. So I'm paying $2,600 a month, and they still decided to raise my rent for another $700. So they want me to pay now $3,000 base rent. Are you kidding me?
Which segues perfectly into my next point, everyone's favorite. Yeah, apartments are pretty fucking expensive, and it's much worse than what it used to be just a few short years ago. Just for context, in 2021, I moved to my first apartment by myself. It was a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom, nothing too crazy. I had a nice view, I had a washer and dryer, I had AC, I had a gym. Not like I used it at all, but the option was still there. I pretty much had everything a young adult could really need. And guess how much I paid for it monthly? About $1,500. Not too bad, honestly. Could be better, but definitely could be worse. I was able to pay my rent, pay my car, take care of all my other smaller expenses, and still have enough left over to treat myself every once in a while. But then the fuck started to happen. Next year, $1,700. The year after, $1,800. The year after, yeah, I didn't make it to the year after. I got kicked out, but that's probably a story for another day. And in the current year of 2026, that same apartment that I paid $1,500 for is now going for $2,100, a $600 increase in just 4 short years. And similar instances are occurring like this all across the world, Willie.
Investigators with the State Attorney General's office are looking at apartment rents. They're up 76% since 2016.
That rents increased 31% in Jacksonville last year, 40% in Austin, Texas.
The report from Apartment List shows rents in San Francisco have shot up 11.5% over this time last year, and about 1.25% in just the last month. That puts the average 2-bedroom rental in the city at a little more than $3,600 per month.
With astronomical year-to-year price increases that now force families who've lived in their complexes for years to have to search for something more affordable. Look, apartment prices are determined by a lot of factors, things such as location, demand, amenities, seasonal trends, so on and so forth. But most of the time, it's not because of some upgrade to the complex or because it's in some now prime area. It mainly comes down to things that are well out of your control. Things such as new facilities like stadiums, bars, and restaurants being built in the area. If other complexes are raising their prices, then landlords will try to match. The state of the economy, if it's summertime versus wintertime, if it's a Sunday versus a Monday. I know apartment prices change daily. I can't make this shit up. It just is what it is. If there is an increase in job opportunities, the list is kind of endless. So at any point in time, you could be faced with an extreme hike in your monthly rent that now forces you to find a new place to live. Simultaneously, just like everything in the world, what you pay for is not nearly the equivalent to what you are getting. There is absolutely no reason that I should be seeing studio apartments the size of the Asian coffins going for 2, 3, hell, even up to 4K a month. I don't care if you could wake up every morning and see the ocean and and see where the Dolphins shit every morning, or if you live 20 doors down from some NBA G Leaguer, you are getting scammed. Some apartments are charging premium prices to not be gated, to not have efficient plumbing, to not have updated appliances, to not have a gym, not have a washer or dryer, to not even have parking for the people that actually live there. And before you have the chance to get to live at these apartments, you're faced with the 10 commandments of required expenses to even just get your foot in the door. Starting with the application fee, which is a pretty standard charge you have to pay, as it will differentiate the people who are actually serious about living there and the people who just feel like wasting everyone's time. And this one is usually like $50 to $100 per person, so not too bad, but as you go on, you'll see how this bill adds up quickly. Next is the admin fee. Wait, what is that supposed to be?
An admin fee typically covers the cost of your background, credit, and rental history checks.
With how I could pretty much find anyone's entire social footprint and just about all of their life information with a small charge and a few clicks of a button, I really doubt it takes you $200 to $300 worth of my bread to find all that out, but to each their own. Next is the security deposit, which is refundable depending on your credit situation, which could definitely make or break you moving from off of your mother's couch. But seeing as how financially irresponsible some people are, they might just need to stay there. So not too bad, right? A few hundred here, a few hundred there.
Now I'm finna hit your ass with these hidden fees.
Parking fee, yep, you gotta pay to park. Even though you live there, that's an extra $100. Trash fee, yeah, the garbage man gotta get his, so that's another $25 a month. Tech fee, oh, so you thought that your digital thermostat and electronic doorknob was baked into the rent. No. Nah, fam, that one's on you. That's another 50 piece. Water fee, you thirsty, right? Water ain't free in this bitch. Give me another 20 more. Pet fee, aw, your cat is so adorable. Yeah, you gotta pay rent for him too. Oh, you thought I was playing? No, like if you don't pay the pet fee, we're definitely going to evict you. On Jesus Devonte Christ. Maintenance fees, internet installation fees, sewer fees, utility fees. When all said and done, the apartment you originally planned to pay $1,700 for is more like $2K a month, with an additional $500 in a one-time upfront fee. Dare I even mention how most places require you to make 3 to 4 times the monthly rent just to live there. So in most cases, you have the average person making $4K a month looking into a $2K a month apartment, and they're now required to make $6 to $8K a month just so that they're qualified to live there. So honestly, now that I think of it, maybe staying on your mother's couch isn't such a bad idea at all. And most of these fees are non-refundable and can become reoccurring. It's not like a security deposit to where you might get some of it back depending on how much of a I don't give a fuck attitude you have, or depending on how grimy your landlords can be.
Take the damn buildings away from the slumlords.
John Reeds has been a tenant at 412 and 410 West 46th Street for the last 30 years. He says he spent much of that time trying to hold his landlords, Jonathan Santana and Daniel Oheb Shalom, accountable for failing to maintain their properties while allowing squatters to come and go as they please. Both men sit on top of this year's Top 100 Worst Landlords list.
Can I help you guys? Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding.
Get out!
What?
Get out!
Yes, I knocked
Get
the door.
out!
You don't even open
I'm
the door.
in my bed, naked.
I was in the middle of my fucking shower, soap all over my shit and everything. Next thing you know, the water pressure gets low. It just starts getting lower and lower and lower until the water just cuts off. No email in advance, no email even as it happened, no nothing. So I throw a towel around my waist, put a shirt back on. At the time, I still had soap on my dick, need I mind you. Marched my fat ass up to the fucking leasing office. I barged in. She didn't even pay me no mind at first. So I walk up to her while her prissy ass is on the phone, slam my hand on the goddamn desk. And she has the audacity to go, what can I help you with? Looked her dead in the eyes and said, what the fuck do I pay you for? Water gets shut off at random half the fucking time. Half the month, I'm not even able to use the shit. We got roaches and mice that I pay for fucking pest control for in the lease. And despite that, we still got the little fuckers scurrying around. I'm having to spend my own money outside of the lease after paying for this shit for my own pest control measures. Fucking $1,200 a month. Can you believe that shit?
In my own experience, I've witnessed firsthand subhuman levels of shithousery from landlords and property managers that just provoke Mr. X levels of violence within me. So quick story time. Remember that apartment I was telling you that I got kicked out of yeah, that was totally not my fault. So basically, if you didn't know, if you live anywhere that's constantly hot and humid, if you don't keep your AC running at all times, then moisture will build up within your residence, and over time, if gone unresolved, it will build up mold. Clearly, with me barely being old enough to legally drink at the time, I really didn't know that. So when my AC went out in my unit, I wasn't really too alarmed. I was working like 2.5 jobs. I spent more time on the road than I did in my apartment, and honestly speaking, I really didn't feel any difference. It was kind of one of those I'll get around to it type of problems. And here and there I would hear the AC come on, so I didn't really think much of it. But then the mold started appearing, like everywhere. It was in my closet, it was on my clothes, it was on my shoes, and basically on any enclosed place. I would one day try to make food, and all of a sudden I take out my wooden cutting board and it resembles like the T-virus on my cutting board. I've had way too many Resident Evil references in this video, but like RE9 is just absolute cinema. Once again, I did not know that a non-running AC would cause all of this, so I just thought my apartment won the unlucky lottery and that it had a built-in mold problem. So when I called the community and let them know that, hey guys, weird grayish green stuff is popping up on my things, of course they took it seriously and came down and they did an inspection and they determined it was mold buildup. So they put these humidifier things in my apartment, have my place looking like one of those houses from that Breaking Bad episode. Have my shit looking like the Mind Flayer from Stranger Things. Long story short, they realized that my AC was not working and they ended up replacing it. And a week later, they came back and hit me with the, yeah, it was a pleasure having you here, but you gotta go. So I pretty much had about 1 month to find a new place, pack up all my shit, and stay with my mom until I could find a new place to live. So you might think that's cruel and all, but oh boy, do I have a tale to tell. Before I left, I wanted to make sure I got my security deposit back. As you know, $500 to a 20-year-old is nothing to scoff at. So I cleaned that apartment head to fucking toe. I cleaned that apartment like the apartment owed me rent. Floor so clean, I could have genuinely ate food off the floors. Hell, I even had my own mom help me clean. And you know how black moms get down when it comes to cleaning. Here's a video of how I left the apartment. I believe this was the very last day and everything. So you could believe my utter amazement that when I got a letter back from the leasing office a few weeks later saying that not only did I not get a single dollar of my security deposit back, but that I owed them $20. Now I know, $20 is not a crazy amount of money. However, you have to look at it from my perspective. I anticipated to get back all 500, even just half of it, even 250, I would have been fine. But for whatever reason, you found $520 worth of deductible damage that now I owe you $20. They basically tried to say that they needed to steam clean the fucking apartment and that I left scratches on their vinyl wooden textured floors and whatever, to which, upon doing my own research and looking at other reviews, is the same exact excuse they used on everybody else. And when I refused to pay them and wrote a very passionate and mature response, they had the audacity, the gall, the cojones to retort with, oh, I should have charged you for the poor patch job you did on your mounted TV.
You need to shut the fuck up.
But my point is, in including this story, is that landlords and property managers will try to use any and all means necessary to try to squeeze any additional money out of you, out of literal spite, as they feel like they have all the power, holds all the cards, and truly have the opportunity to make your time at your apartment a living nightmare, with stories of extreme negligence and being an over-the-top asshole being a dime a dozen. Most of the discourse around the internet seems to share the same beliefs about landlords, which is that until it reaches a point of breaching legality is the only time most will actually step in to do something, and will use their King Joffrey levels of authority at any point in time to their benefit and to your detriment. Luckily, I haven't experienced anything insane during my time, but the internet does a fair enough job at giving me an idea of what that can be like. So with all the reasonability, the commitment and hassle-free culture that apartments used to have is slowly begun being replaced with greed, with gentrification, with monarchs as property managers and landlords who have free will to charge you what they want, dictate how you live, and in the worst case scenarios, displace you whenever they feel like it. But in an economy where housing prices are rising and home ownership is becoming more unattainable day by day, there is really no other place that many like you and me can turn to.